Does Philo of Alexandria prove the mythicist position? No. So my name is Dustin White. I'm a former mythicist who looked at the claims of mythicists, and today we'll be looking at Philo. So this claim really seems to go back to Richard Carrier, who just really misinterprets what Philo has to say, and not only that, but what the book of Zechariah has to say. But let's look at this specific claim. Does Philo literally mention an angel who was called the Logos who creates the world? Well, not really. Now, there's actually a second issue here that we have to discuss, which is how does this relate to Jesus? So let's actually tackle that one first. So this one is actually really easy to dismiss because Jesus is not an angel. He's not described as an angel. Now, while Jesus is called the Logos in one gospel, we really have this Logos theology that's developing in two different traditions. So while both Philo and John use the term Logos, they use it in a different sense. So now that that is out of the way, what about Philo and the Logos and this angel who creates the world? Well, Philo does call the Logos an angel. Actually, he describes him as an archangel, really the only archangel or an instrument in order to actually perform creation, that he's involved in creation. But this is also still something that is attached to God. Now, this is different from the way that John actually describes this. He's not saying that he actually used Jesus as a tool in order to create everything. That's not what John is saying. John is saying that the Logos was there during creation. So we actually have two different ways in which this Logos theology is really developing, and there's actually probably a lot more ways in which this is going through. We can actually look through some of the Jewish texts around this time and see the Memra, which is really this same idea. So yeah, you have some similar ideas between Jesus and the Logos that is within Philo, but there's also some big differences. So to connect the two really doesn't make a lot of sense. And at the end of the day, Philo does not portray an angel whose name is Jesus, and Jesus is never portrayed as an angel, so this point really is moot.